I would like to publicly offer to host the official trans side panel. Like, what are you doing, mate? This is like so f***ing bad. What are you doing, bro? What is this? And that's annoying. I'm annoyed. I'm like, what the hell? On what planet is this a good idea? Would advise any of my friends on this list to stay far away from it. This is milking trans trauma for content. I feel like this is one of the issues with Will.
It's a bit egotistical and narcissistic of me, but I find myself... I've walked in 3 pride parades. Does that count?
Just because you're a trans person, it doesn't mean that you're allowed to have opinions. Okay, guys, anyway. Continue to give me money, and we're then going to talk about this. So Will is on this kind of like current thing where he was saying there isn't a trans genocide.
Some content creators are getting ostracized from the, from our community a little bit, or they're getting shit on pretty hard for not believing that this thing exists. And I say a lot of the time that I don't think that the transgender genocide exists. But today we're going to take an extremely as honest a look at it as I think possible. I was being a little spicy on Twitter. I said, hey, prove it. Someone said something about the trans genocide, and I said, prove it. Well, Demonmama responded.
He then spoke to, watched some videos of some trans content creators, and spoke just to a trans content creator, I think. And now he's changed his mind and thinks that we're in the preliminary stages of one or something like that, okay? So he's basically kind of like stepped over to the side of people that believe there is some sort of like trans genocide happening or on the precipice of happening, whatever it may be, okay? Will then proceeded to do something. This is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen anyone done when it comes to setting up content, okay? Like, when I saw this, I was like, what are you doing, mate? Like, this is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen, okay? Check this out. He tweeted this out. He said, so the first thing is this. I would like to publicly offer to host the official trans genocide panel. What is that? That is the most insane proposition I've ever heard of in the way it's framed. It's not like I want to host a panel to discuss, trans oppression in the United States or something like that. Okay? It is the official trans genocide panel. Like, what the fuck? I just don't understand why you'd frame it in this insane way. And obviously, yeah, it's like Giga Chad based, whatever. It's kind of funny the way it's presented. But if he's genuinely looking to get people on that do think there's like a trans genocide happening, okay, what do you think they're going to think looking at this? They're going to be like, what the fuck? Because to them, this would be like saying, let's say in like the 1930s or something, right? We are going to host the official Holocaust panel to see if it's happening or not. Like, what are you doing, mate? This is like so fucking bad in terms of trying to attract people from like the other side, so to speak. And even I looked at this and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. It sounds like a badly named panel, but whatever. So yeah, I just think that like just dropping the ball from the start in terms of the presentation of it, in terms of how you're presenting it and putting it out there, okay? But it gets worse, of course. But it gets worse. He then went on to do this. For some reason, he added a bunch of people in a tweet. I don't know why he did this. He added a bunch of people in a tweet and said, if anyone has any good voices, preferably trans voices to balance this out, add them. Let's make peace. What are you doing, bro? What is this? From a personal perspective, on a personal selfish level, I'm looking at this and I see this happen and I immediately start getting notifications as people that I follow start to respond. And that's annoying. I'm annoyed. I'm like, what the hell? First I muted the conversation and then I left it. Because, surprise, surprise, I don't want my notification feed filled up with a bunch of fucking autists arguing about trans genocide or whatever it is they're arguing about, okay? And the second thing is, this is a bunch of people of varying different social interactions. Some people are friendly, some people don't know each other, other people despise each other. Why the hell are you going to put a tweet out and at a bunch of people that either do or don't like each other to differing degrees? This is fucking insane. What was he thinking? On what planet is this a good idea? How's it going, Will? Admittedly, this was probably the worst way to do this. And the thing is like, I understand that maybe Will hasn't done a panel before or something like that. But like, do you really, how are you making content? How are you making videos? And you cannot see what a bad idea this is before you do it. I genuinely don't understand it. It's like, literally, so first of all, he's saying he's going the official trans genocide panel. It's just a mental way of framing it. And then he's atting a bunch of people, some of who hate each other. And some people have rightly said, in my opinion, that at least it looks like he's trying to get some sort of drama going because he's atting a bunch of people, some of who hate each other, to make some content together. So anyway, what happened in the replies? Well, you can probably guess. Everyone instantaneously started arguing with each other. Okay? Now, the thing is, obviously, I follow Will. If someone ats me, I only see it in my notifications if I follow them. And obviously, I follow Will, so I saw this. And it was just like, oh, man. I unfollowed the conversation after I saw 6 tweets in my notifications that I wasn't interested in. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm out of here. But yeah, obviously, people went on to argue in the replies. So we've got Rose Mallet in there straight away, trying to get the clout pick. Typical. Zonya just promoting whatever this is. The problem with President Sunday's assertion. Power button politics there. Oh, also, yeah, it's interesting how he's... So, okay. Polly People, in fairness, has had a large part to play in a lot of this discussion recently. And she's not atted. But Nicholas de Oreo is. Why is Nicholas de Oreo is a fucking drama guy? Why the fuck would you at him? That's literally insane. You're literally like making it look even more like it's some drama farming exercise if you're inviting drama YouTubers. Like, what are you thinking, dude? Has Nicholas de Oreo even publicly stated a position on trans issues? Mental. Absolutely mental. Honestly, this is flabbergasting. This was flabbergasting to me. Listen, credit to Will, he's kept it up, okay? I've got to respect that. That's pretty, you know, owning up to your errors, I've got to say. But yeah, everyone started, you know, responding in the replies. How did I get tagged into this? I've mostly been talking shit about this topic in private. I think you would be a good middle ground interlocutor. Also, I thought you might know someone who is a good fit. Okay, if you want to do a piece of content and you want to either reach out to people or find out if there's someone that might be suitable that you don't know, here's a little tip. DM them privately. Hey, I've got this panel I want to do. Do you either want to come on or do you know anyone that might? Simple. Simple. Well, if he wants to, we can talk later, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Will has accepted this was a really stupid way to do this, so I don't really know if there's much to say. It feels a bit harsh to get him on just to have a go at him. But yeah. I know you want me to just berate him some more. I mean, look, trans people were in the responses literally saying, like, any trans person that participates is a betrayer. Jesus. Vivian Wolf there. Would advise any of my friends on this list to stay the far the fuck away from it. This is milking trans trauma for content. The guest list is designed for drama, not understanding. Absolute sociopath shit. Oh my god. Oh man.
What that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not.
It was certainly provocative. It was certainly provocative. The thing is like, look, I'd normally be critical of like, you know, kind of things like this because I just think there's a totality to it that doesn't really make sense if it's just a general panel. Okay? But like, this was just so badly done. I can understand why someone might look at this and go, yeah, count me out. You've called it the official trans genocide panel. The people that you've atted in it, some of them just despise each other. And you've also atted a drama YouTuber too. It can be Giga Chad, but Giga Chad stuff sometimes is really stupid too, and that's what makes it funny. In fact, I kind of like that. I kind of like that analysis, you know? I'm just going to tweet out, I'm doing a panel about the official trans genocide, and then I'm going to add a bunch of people that hate each other and see what happens. Like, that's pretty Giga Chad. That is true. Okay, so, anyway. Apparently, this panel is happening. So, you know, if there's one thing you can say about this, you can't say it's unsuccessful. Seems like it is happening. So, fair play. You got what you wanted, I guess. But also what happened is... No. In fact, let me see if I can find the what I put into Discord about it, okay? I've searched the word retard in my Discord, and there's over 7,000 results. So I'm kind of struggling to find it, to be honest with you. Here we go. Got it. Here we go. I put the tweet of him atting everyone, and I said, is Will a fucking retard? And then I added Will, and I said, why are you atting me like this, bro? With a bunch of people, some of who don't like me. I then went on to go further because I was really pissed off with him because he'd done something so stupid. He then went on to say the following. He said something like, oh yeah, I'm really bad at this. I've never done this before. Will you help me? And this is where my response to whether I'm going to be on the panel comes in. Okay? I said, and I quote, I don't give a shit about your gay panel. My advice is message people directly that you want to come on and invite half of them as trans people. Otherwise, you'll become a victim of cancel culture. And that was it. That's all I said to him. So, in response to what you're saying there, the answer is I will not be going on the panel.
We're in for an interesting conversation, I think, today. Not gonna lie. You know, I just recently announced that I'm going to take it upon myself, since Mr. Girl is no longer hosting anything interesting, that I'm going to take it upon myself to hold the official trans genocide panel.
Max destroyed.
Where I'd like to get a group of fairly like-minded individuals together to see if we can maybe strap down a little bit more what this trans genocide thing really is, you know? And probably people responded to my tweet. Doesn't seem too happy with me, and we're gonna join her Discord and see what's up. All right.
The funny thing about it is Will has actually got the soy opinion now. Will has got the perspective that I believe we're in the preliminary stages of a trans genocide. So like, I don't understand why these people that think like that are so mad at him. Aside from the tweet, obviously, which was insane. Obviously, the tweet was an absolutely insane way of doing it. But he kind of like agrees with them, more or less, right?
Strap in, folks. Strap in. We're going to see how all this goes.
Could you let us know what your... can we call you Will? And also, what are your pronouns?
Will is definitely preferable, and pronouns he, him.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, I gave the stream a little preview. I let them know, like, what's up. You know, what is that issue, and how you decided it would be a good idea to hold... You're a cis person or a trans person?
I am a cis person.
Okay. All right. So you thought it would be a good idea as a cis person to hold a panel about whether or not, I believe I understand the topic. You are posing the question whether or not there's a trans genocide going on.
Okay, so first of all, it doesn't matter what your identity is. If someone is making public statements about something on the internet, that can be scrutinized. And if you want to go out and say there's a trans genocide, hey, that's fine. But on the same time, you can't expect people to not scrutinize that statement because it's a pretty big statement that most people aren't going to agree with. So, like, yeah, and you know, what's wrong with a cis person? Admittedly, he did it in a really stupid way. But what's wrong with a cis person, like, asking that question? It feels like there's this dynamic where it's like, trans people can have this opinion, which, by the way, I agree with, of course, they can have that opinion. But then it's like, and also they can state it loudly on their platform without it being challenged because of their identity. And if you try and challenge it as a cis person, you're doing something wrong. And that just seems crazy to me.
To Chud Nation.
You know, I just don't understand this idea that, like, this can't be scrutinized or discussed. I mean, can a trans person do it? It seemed like Zonya, who's got an alternative opinion on this and is also a trans person, was getting berated and called like a Nazi sympathizer and all sorts of crazy shit. So it seems to me like if you're a cis person, oh, you're wrong to do this because you're a cis person. But if you're a trans person and you do it, you get criticized for like other things. Like it seems like you're not allowed to question it. It seems like you're just not allowed to question it. It seems like all you can do is either say, yes, there is a trans genocide happening. In that case, you're on their side and they agree. But if you say no, then that is then you're a bad person. I've even heard of Lonerbox getting called a genocide denier because of his position on it. It's fucking mental. And the funny thing is that, yes, Will went about it very badly, but Will actually agrees. So the fact he's getting sissied is insane to me because he actually like agrees. So this is like fucking cuck shit right here.
I don't know if that's exactly the question. I think, you know what? I say that is kind of the question. Yeah, for sure.
It is the question that I understand. Okay, so
no, there's no question. The answer is what I just fucking said.
I said you invited a number of folks. And I wanted to ask you if you stood by your invite list as being an appropriate guest list to discuss the existence or not as to whether there's a trans genocide.
I feel like this is one of the issues with Will, is that like he's very like he kind of just molds to whatever the person he's speaking to. And he doesn't seem willing to like stand up for himself or like stand his ground and say, actually, hang on a minute. Maybe it happens later. I don't know. Maybe I'm poor Zandying it, right? But he's taken all this shit and he doesn't need to. You know, the thing about being cis is a total fucking irrelevance. You could be critical of Will's actions and how he went about it without even bringing his identity into it because it's irrelevant, you know?
Do I stand by the invite list? So the thing about the invite list is that each of those people, do I stand by it? At the moment when I sent it, knowing what I knew then when I sent it, yes. Knowing kind of like what I know now and maybe what like just would have been a more appropriate way of contacting all of those streamers, probably not. I wouldn't resend it now. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I'm very new to all of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's obvious, right? And so,
yeah.
given that you fucked up on the first tweet, right? Do you think that maybe people like me who are saying, I don't think you know what you're doing here, and you're trying to create you're trying to create a panel about a sensitive topic, maybe you are not the person to do this, and maybe this is not a topic that ought to have a panel.
I mean,
I'm curious. Do you think that...
okay, the idea that it shouldn't have a panel is absolutely insane. I would agree that you ought to go about it in like a sensitive way, because for some people it is going to be like a sensitive topic. You know, you're talking about things which they feel are obviously very, you know, they obviously feel very strongly about it, which is completely understandable. If you're going to call something a genocide, you clearly think it's very severe and very serious, so there probably is a level of caution required that Will didn't engage in. But I don't think that like him going about it badly is a reason not to have the panel at all. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna have a. I don't care enough about the transgen. I don't care enough about a trans genocide to have a debate about it. Okay. But I don't think it's a reason to throw it out the window completely. Like, people can do a panel about whatever they want, you know? Like, it's up to you what content you do. And if you want to do a panel about it, that's fine. And if you can get enough people to come on and discuss it, there you go. There's your panel. Job done.
We're going to debate. Wait, I'm curious. Like,
are you open to
Sure.
the idea, given that you fucked up on the first tweet? Are you open to the idea that maybe you're not the right person to do this if it needs to be done at all?
No, the fact that I fucked up on the first tweet proves that I'm actually the best person for the job.
You're
Okay.
gonna have to explain that one.
I find myself, this is a bit
You know you're doing a
egotistical.
panel on genocide, right?
It's a bit egotistical and narcissistic of me, but I find myself to be, I think, a fairly honest person. And I try to portray myself online fairly identical to how I am in real life. So while I might stumble through some of these more online, interactions because I'm not as familiar with
Yeah, I've got to say, yeah, that's why you missed a girl. That is the kind of thing Max would say. Well, this mistake I made means I'm the best person to do it.
them, I can assure you that in my real life, I have dealt with many serious topics, and I think that it would be.
Okay,
I think that I am an
hold
apt
on.
person to be able to
All
discuss
right,
this.
okay, I get it. It's not a job interview. I need basically straight answers from you here.
Was that not straight?
So you're unwilling to hold on. You're unwilling to accept that you fucked up the first tweet.
Polly People's whole thing is she is like a very fervent, like, she gets people on stream to like dunk on the transphobe. That's what I think is happening here. Despite the fact that, yes, Will did fuck up in the tweet, but like he is essentially in agreement with her, right? More or less. I think sufficient that would be enough, surely, to like he's saying that he thinks there's a preliminary stages of a genocide. So this is like this is an episode of we get the transphobe on to dunk on them. That's the way I'm seeing this anyway. That's my guess. So, yeah, like the way this is kind of being asked and stuff like that, I can imagine that her chat is probably popping off and it's probably like, oh yeah, get him, blah, 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 blah. Polly actually, I don't know if she's still subscribed to me or not, but she has actually subscribed to me in the past and sometimes watches my content. So, I would have thought that my kind of content would be unconscionable to her, but who knows? I can't imagine that anyone in the chat would be a fan of me. But this just seems like, yeah, get the transphobe on and just relentlessly shit on them. And listen, there's nothing wrong with dunking on someone, having some memes or whatever, but like, I would happily bring Will on to like tell him why his fucking tweet sucked. But this just seems to be not doing it for just like the sake of content or memes or fun or whatever. It's like demolishing the transphobe. I don't know. That's how I'm reading this.
Right. And you said,
No, I
no,
said I
actually,
fucked up. I
hold
said I
on,
would
let me
redo
finish.
the tweet.
Hold on a second. Let me finish. And you said that actually makes you more qualified because you're an honest person. Do you think that honesty alone is sufficient to qualify you to do a panel about the potential genocide of a bunch of severely marginalized people?
Well, would you want to have someone who is dishonest run that panel? So I would say that, yeah, kind of like honesty
Honesty
at
is a
its
minimum
forefront would be,
point, right?
sure,
Like,
yeah. But I mean, like, would you rather have
saying
Matt
I
Walsh
have
host
one
the
of the
panel,
many-
or, sorry.
What you're saying is I have one, and you're just asserting this. Like, I don't know that this is true. Like, you're saying I am honest, so I have one of the many qualifications that would be required for somebody to host a panel on the genocide of trans people, right? How is it that your honesty is the thing that makes you able to talk about a topic like that?
It's not it's not the singular thing. I mean, what's up? I don't understand the question, I guess. Why are you
Well,
pigeonholing me to honesty being the only qualifier to be able to do this panel?
Well, if you fuck up the first tweet, like, what else
I've
do you
walked in
have to
3
offer?
pride parades. Does that count? I don't know. Like, what exactly are the qualifiers that I would have to have
Are you being-
for you to think that I'm,
Are
qualified
you
for
being
doing
serious
something of
about
that?
the Pride Parade, or are you kidding about
Yeah,
that?
no, seriously. I've walked in 3 pride parades.
dude.
Walked right next to my
Wow, you
LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters.
Okay, so the other problem as well is like Will is here. He's trying to like sell himself almost as like, I can do this panel, where in my opinion what he should have done is just gone, I don't care whether I'm qualified or not. This is a piece of content that I want to do and I'm going to do it. And there's nothing, literally nothing you can do to stop me. If you don't want to come on, don't come on, but that's up to you. I'm going to do the panel and I'm going to be able to get people on to talk about it. And if no trans person wants to come on and it's only cis people that turn up to discuss it, well, so be it. That's how you deal with these situations, you know? If someone's trying to police your content, you just put your foot down and say, no, I'm going to do the content I want to do on my channel. If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't come on the show. You don't need to sell yourself to anyone. You know, when someone's putting you in a position of essentially, you know, sell to me why you should be able to do the panel, that's what has happened here now. Or Will feels like he's in that position. Just tell them, no, I don't have to sell anything to you. I'm doing what the content I want to do.
Sisters.
Okay,
Why?
all right.
I'm just saying, like,
Okay,
I'm not completely ignorant to all of the
hold on,
plight, you
no.
know, of,
Okay. Hold on a
you
second.
know what I mean?
Hold on.
You're not talking to, like, Sparky or someone
Stop,
on the
stop,
right,
stop,
you know what I mean?
Stop. Okay, but you understand? You're essentially saying I have trans friends. I can run a panel about genocide, right? Do you
That's
have
not what
Jewish
I'm
friends?
saying.
I assume so, right? Are you going to have a panel about the fucking Holocaust and whether, you know, like when the, you know, like you have to understand when you're trying to discuss a topic like
Yeah.
genocide.
Have a panel about the Holocaust and whether it happened. Why not? The only problem is that goes against TOS oftentimes because I think Holocaust denial is often like a thing that you can't discuss in some countries at least. In America, like it would probably be fine to host like an IRL panel discussing that. I don't think anyone would be able to stop you doing that because it's free speech. But did it happen, Chud? Well, we're not going to know until we do the panel, are we? That's the problem we got.
You have to have at least some sense of what the fuck is going on, right? You don't even, okay, let's just back this up a second. Here's why your panel is ill-conceived. Is that first you don't know anything about it. I think you can, if you were actually being honest, you would admit that. Two, you don't even frame the topic right. When you say, is there a trans genocide going on? That's not the question that you should be asking, because what that implies is that somehow the answer should dictate how people like me talk about it. Like, do you agree that generally the people that you would invite on
Wait. Well, yeah. I mean, sure. That's the whole point, isn't it? Isn't the whole point that some people are calling it a genocide and some people disagree on academic grounds? Other people maybe disagree on pragmatic grounds of calling it that, and whether it's like politically efficacious if it's not something you can demonstrate is happening. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, obviously, if we have a panel and there's going to be people there that don't think it's a genocide and have got some, you know, something to talk about or some points to make with regards to that, then yeah. I think just because you're a trans person, it doesn't mean that you're allowed to have opinions or perspectives on things that are unchallenged. That sounds fucking insane to me.
panel like this would accept the idea that trans people are heavily marginalized and being erased.
Would I agree that most of the people that I invited on the first wave?
No. We already know that your invitation list was dog shit, right? So like I assume you admit that your invitation list was dog shit.
Jesus Christ. Hey, Polly, I would like you to do me a favor. We've really never had any kind of interaction before, and I'm really not entirely sure why you're so hot against me. We really are both an ally here against the either preliminary transgenocide or the upcoming transgenocide or the ongoing transgenocide. Regardless of whatever our opinion is on the genocide, there is like a level of discrimination that is happening towards trans people and LGBTQ plus folks that is going to lead to people dying. And I just really feel like the way that you're kind of like pigeonholing me is in a way
You're
where
gonna tone police me or you're gonna listen. Because you walk in
Jesus.
pride parades, I'm supposed to what?
Wait, I thought this was supposed to be a discussion. What the fuck? Now it's turning into a lecture.
Be nice to you in a way that you find acceptable?
No, I think you should be nice to me in a way that I think that, well, for one, usually when I meet people for the first time, like in real life, I'm usually not this hot on them, especially when all I have from them is a tweet. So yeah, I'm actually asking you that.
That's the thing, though. The reason she's so hot is because this is about that she's making a piece of content out of you. Like, I think that Will is a bit naive in some cases, particularly like an example here where he thinks there's some sort of conversation happening here where like she just wants to dunk on a transphobe. She wants to throw you like a piece of red meat to her audience, you know? And that's why, you know, in some ways, you're best off just going on and being really bullish. Is that the right word? You know, just being very direct, going in there and putting it down how it is. These people are going to fucking hate you anyway, so make them hate you more. It's funny. It's good content, you know? And then do the panel anyway, because these fuckers aren't going to be watching it. And even if they do, it will be through the lens of Polly watching it, and they'll all be sawing out about it. So fuck it, who cares? So yeah, I just think that these kind of conversations are best had if you just do everything you can to piss them off further, because that's just funny. And then you're making a funny piece of content out of it. You're making content out of it, you know? Chud always has the best advice on how to be a giant asshole. I'm giving advice about how to be an asshole to someone that's being an asshole to you. Will has actually got, you know, at least maybe a softened version, but a version of Polly's opinion on this. Like, Will has got some agreement with Polly, and yet he's getting treated like he's fucking Matt Walsh. Do you know what I mean? As if like he needs to come on and be questioned and stuff about this. Just don't fucking put up for it. Just tell him straight. I don't know. I just think that, you know, you need to sometimes you can have a conversation that is both ways, good faith, etc. And maybe that could be a piece of content, but it might be a good conversation too. But this person is just bringing Will on to dunk on them as a transphobe. So be the transphobe that you want them to be. You know, in terms of just saying, I don't care that I'm cis. I'm going to do this panel because I think it's a topic worth talking about, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can just moan from. If you don't want to be involved, you can moan from the sidelines. That, to me, is the best way to deal with this kind of interaction.
I think that you should extend me a little bit more faith and good faith than you're giving me.
You told me. Yeah. Okay, look. You already.
Yeah, it matched the energy,
right?
exactly.
Like, you already said, I know nothing about this issue, or I know nothing about how to set up a panel on a sensitive issue, but I'm literally the most qualified person to do it. Because I'm honest. Like,
I think that I sent a
No.
Here we
go.
No. I agreed that I sent a bad tweet. I didn't agree that I would be a bad person to host this panel. Excuse me. I agree that the tweet that I sent was bad, and that perhaps I should have contacted the people that would be in the panel. I should have done that in a better way, and perhaps I should have been a little more thorough about the specific people that I added. But that has nothing to do about the quality in which I feel like I could host a panel. That's not fair.
Okay, so let's get to my second point then, if you don't mind. If I could pose a question to you, that's okay.
You've been posing many questions. That's fine. Yeah, hit me.
Is it okay if I ask another one, sir?
Why is she doing this? Will's been like super gracious up till this point, where he's got a bit annoyed, and now she's acting like he's like a really difficult person to deal with, and she's like having to ask him if she can ask questions.
Don't have to do this. It's fine. Ask me another question. It's okay.
So when you have a panel, when you put together a panel that where people can freely opine, cis people.
Ooh, freely opine. Hold on, you're making a lot of assumptions about this panel. Can I tell you? Hold on. I think you're complaining about the panel, and you don't even know the basics about which like it's going to be set up at all. Even though I've elucidated it in the thread. I just think this is really annoying. I just want to make sure you're not like arguing against a ghost, okay? Would you like to know the actual panel that I'm planning on hosting, or would you like to debate about a panel that you think is going to happen?
Listen to me. I know you think you know what you are talking about, but I don't think you do. And the fact you keep talking over me makes me think you do not want to listen. Do you? I ask again.
Welcome.
Are you
to
willing
Chud Nation.
to listen to me?
Brain Dead One gifted
pose
a
a
tier
question
1
to you
sub.
without
Hey, thanks for the gifted.
They have given 11 gifts subs in the channel.
Thank you. When you host a panel about whether or not there's a trans genocide going on, and you invite a bunch of people who have, yikesy takes on trans issues, do you think that the discussion is worth having, or do you think it might result in the question as to whether are trans people, should we tone police trans people, or should we paint trans people that are calling this a genocide, or at least the first steps of a genocide, as being fear-mongery?
Wait, but hang on. It's not tone policing. Tone policing is when you criticize someone for like the way in which they say something, right? You are making like a factual claim, okay? You're making like a factual claim. It's like if I were to say 1 million trans people are being murdered every day in the United States, and someone came up to me and said, excuse me, I don't like the fact that you're stating stuff that's wrong. I don't think that's correct. And here's my count. Stop tone policing me. It doesn't work like that. Like, if you're making a claim that there's a genocide happening in the United States against trans people, like that statement is going to be scrutinized. And I don't think that that's tone policing. Like, if you're making a claim that there's a genocide currently happening against trans people in the United States, and someone says, I don't agree with that actually, that to me just doesn't strike me as tone policing. I would have thought it was something else, right? Like, what would a tone policing be in this instance? I think maybe if like someone, if like, you know, if there was like you having a private conversation with someone and they made a claim about something like this and you were like super hard on them and having to go at them or whatever, maybe that might be some form of tone policing perhaps. But we're talking about people that are like making loud public statements on public platforms, making factual claims, or I don't know what you'd call it, but like a claim that like you should be able to substantiate in some way, you know? And someone coming along going, I don't agree with that, and here's why. Not that Will's even doing that, other people are. Yeah, it just seems kind of crazy to me.
You know, overly emotional
language
people,
policing,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Do you
Call it
think
language
that's
policing.
what you're actually doing with your panel? Do you understand what I'm saying?
But
yeah,
even
no,
then,
I
it's-
obviously do not think that I'm doing that with my fucking panel. Obviously not. Or why would I put it together? I mean,
Well, then explain to me how debate.
And yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, sure, tone policing perhaps is a good, like, the whole point of tone policing originally, I thought was about, like, if people privately were voicing concerns, or, like, someone was talking about some oppression they were experiencing, and you were super hard on the way that they were talking about it. But, like, yeah, like, telling a woman they shouldn't raise their voice. But, like, if we're talking about public figures talking online about your opinions, how can that be tone policing? Because you're giving scrutiny to what someone is saying publicly on a large platform or on a platform. And the outcome of that, if you present things in a certain way or present it badly, you know, could certainly be bad. So yeah, I just think that whichever way you cut this, to me, if someone's saying some dumb shit on the internet and you disagree with it and you think you've got a case as to why they're wrong, you should be able to state that without it being accused that you're tone policing or some shit, you know?
Debating whether or not there's
no one's debating. We're not debating.
Hold on.
So,
Okay, well,
okay.
what are you doing then? What are you doing?
It is, here's what, yeah, see, Paulie, this is what I'm trying to say. You don't even know about what the premise or the objective of the panel is, and yet you're debating it. Like, I think that your idea of how you think that this panel is going to go is I'm going to pick 3 people that think the trans genocide is real, 3 people that don't think the trans genocide is real, and we're going to have a bloodbath.
Okay, well,
my real goal, I think,
would...
Yeah, no, it's fine. What I actually want to do is I want to pick 6 people on... No. What I want to do is... Can I explain with all due respect? I want to pick 6 people on the left and put them on a panel.
Okay,
and
so what?
The point that I'm really trying to kind of get at is that I think that a lot of us on the left actually believe like the same thing. If we were to strip away the word genocide, discrimination, whatever it is. And we just describe like the characteristics of what we are seeing and whether or not like we agree that these things are happening, if they're good or bad. I think we would pretty much across the board. Now listen, with the first tweet list, maybe not all the people in that first tweet would agree, okay? But in the 6-person panel that I'm going to put together, people are going to just axiomatically believe, you know, that trans people need access to medical care. And that if they do not have access to the medical care, then...
Okay, I mean, Will is just watering down his panel now to an absolutely pointless degree, where you're just going to have a bunch of people that largely agree, so it's going to be little, small disagreements over, like, language or something. Literally the most retarded idea for a panel I've ever heard. If you're going to have people come on to discuss trans genocide, right, yes, you need to have some fucking contention to actually make it interesting. I feel like what's happened is Will has fucked up in terms of how he's gone to arrange this. He's got some backlash, right? And now he's just watering down his panel to the point of like insignificance. You don't need to have like someone that thinks they should be genocided on there. That seems a bit much. But at the very least, you ought to have someone on there who is like critical of some aspect of like trans healthcare or something. Because the point is, a lot of this is fundamental to some of those bills that are being passed in regards to trans healthcare. So if you've got someone on that is critical of the concept of trans healthcare, that's going to create a really interesting dynamic that's going to end up with the panel potentially having some, you know, fractious moments. And the thing is, you can just say to the trans people that are going to be on there, hey, just to let you know, this is likely to be quite contentious. I've got these people with these perspectives on here. You know, I appreciate, obviously, that this is a sensitive topic for some people, and I wouldn't want to put you in a position where you feel uncomfortable, you know, having to deal with anyone. And that way, you're making sure that people aren't coming on with and having a wrong expectation of what's going to happen, and you're still creating a piece of content that's going to be interesting and engaging, okay? Why bother going into all this effort to put a panel on if everyone's going to largely agree with the fundamental premise? Like, that seems pointless to me. So, my advice on this is to actually get some decent, substantive contention on the panel so you actually have a piece of content that people actually want to fucking watch.
You know, that is going to lead to suicides and thus deaths of trans people. But I want to unite the left under... I really want to, like,
naivete,
I feel like there's kind of this issue where people on the left kind of fight each other about things, and we kind of all really honestly believe pretty much the same thing.
This is some fucking bullshit cloud cuckoo land. We should all just get along nonsense. What is he on about? No, this is what it's all about. It's about contention and arguing and fighting on the internet, okay? Why the fuck do you want to put a panel on and bring everyone together? That's the most boring thing I could imagine. Oh, man. This uniting the left shit. We should fight harder. True.
And I just think that sucks. You know, I just think that would be so much better, like, if we had, like, a united front about... Can I finish? I just think it would be nice if we had a united front, you know, against, like, the real extremists, you know? Because I think that if we were able to, like, use more accurate definitions, or, you know, or describe things more accurately, then we would be able to bring over, like, more people even from, like, the middle, too, over to our side. And that would really, help us long run.
Stop. When you say describe things more accurately, is that essentially what you're trying to do here? Come to a conclusion as to how to describe what's going on with trans people? Is that what you think is good? You think that's something you should shoot for?
So, with the word genocide, what's kind of interesting about it is that there's kind of like 3 different definitions of it. There's the colloquial definition, there's the academic definition.
Okay, just stop it. Just answer.
Yeah, this is related to the answer. So the thing is that, I think that...
Okay, so...
Holly, come on. Can we please just have a conversation like 2 normal people? If I was in a coffee shop with you, would you be talking to me like this? Or are you only doing this because we have the internet between us? Like, I beg you.
True point.
Please offer me the same courtesy.
But it feels like Will is missing the point of this. It feels like he still doesn't understand what's happening here. That he is the you know, transphobe to be dunked on. You know, and that's, he is playing this role. I mean, I can just imagine her chat. Her chat is going to be popping off and having a go at him and criticizing him and shitting on him and all this stuff, you know. Which, by the way, is fine. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with people, like, making content out of shitting on someone. Like, that's not a problem. But it's the fact that, like, there's the dishonesty happening here where it's, like, almost as if it's to have... I mean, I don't know what the messages were before this going into it, but Will has come in, like, super charitable good faith when he should have come with, like, the mentality of, you know, biting back a bit.
That you would offer me if I was standing in front of you. I apologize for interrupting you earlier, and that's fine. I'm trying to tone it down.
Talking to you the same way.
I would leave the conversation. I would hear you talk to me, and I would just leave.
And you fucking pussy, dude, just have a conversation with me. You are trying to essentially clout shark off trans people's fucking trauma, and you were telling me that you want to debate the best way to talk about our trauma.
I don't want to debate. Oh yeah, I do want to debate the best way to talk about our trauma. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's okay. That should be an okay conversation to have.
It's an okay conversation for cis people to tell trans people how to describe what's going on with them.
No, it's okay for all people to tell all people. You know, maybe
Giga chat, just Giga chat it. I will talk about whatever I want on my platform. If I want to tell trans people how to talk, I'll tell them how to talk. If I want to bring on 6 transphobic, racist, white bigots to tell trans people how to talk, I'll bring them on and tell them to talk. Because it's my content and I can do whatever the hell I want. As long as it's in TOS, you can't fucking do anything about it. If you don't like it, don't be involved and don't watch. Simple. But he's trying so hard to like convince and sell it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just think the best thing to do, and I've learned this after years of conversations about deplatforming. I've learned from years after conversations about who you can have on, who you can't have on, and all this stuff. Okay, it's pointless having these conversations. It's pointless having these conversations. So just lean into it and Giga chat it.
Talk about it this way.
Police panel. You're like, yo, all these.
Jesus Christ! What's your definition of tone police? What do you mean by that?
It's when people who are not subject to the marginalization.
Wait, if that's really the case, I challenge you to say the blacks are complaining too much about this racism thing. But there's a difference between, you know, if a trans person was coming on and saying, man, this transphobia sucks. I got berated in the street the other day, or like, you know, they might be restricting my healthcare options or something like that. That's fine. Like, not a problem with that at all. But if a black person were to come on and say, there is currently a genocide being perpetuated against black people in America, yeah, I'd be like, I think that's fucking insane. Like, it doesn't matter what the issue is. Why can't we say a slur?
Tell people who are subject to marginalization or even genocide
because you're banned. That's
how
why.
They should talk about their experiences. It's the literal definition.
Oh,
of tone
Count created 3 hours ago. What a shocker!
Hold on. I would never want you to like talk about how your experience happens. I just feel like we should probably attribute the most accurate words to it.
My experience is valid or not?
No,
of course not. You're going to bring a panel on that says that there are people that say, Polly says there's a genocide going on. That's unacceptable, and you're going to accept that as a uniting point of view when it is essentially just tone policing.
Do you think that there's any validity? Do you think there's any validity in like you know, making sure that like when we have communications with people that we use the most accurate words to describe the things that are happening?
Sure.
In my opinion, I think that, you know, saying that we were in the middle of a genocide is just not an accurate way. Okay, but it does matter because Polly, you know, the trans people, they're a minority of a minority of a minority. Like, you need us on your side. It's just a really interesting Black Power movement. Okay, slogan is this.
Is saying, hold on. Nobody is telling you. I am not tone policing you. I'm not saying you have to use my language. What I'm saying, it is not the place of cis people to debate with trans people about how trans people explain what is going on with them. You are presuming.
Okay, well then trans people need to stop saying dumb fucking shit on the internet then, and it won't happen.
That you can tell us how to talk about our experience.
I am not making a prescription like that. And honestly, I kind of just don't believe that
You're making like, I don't know, is factual claim the right word for it? I mean, genocide has got a definition. And like, you need to be able to substantiate that claim. And if someone challenging you to do so, saying, I don't think that's happening, that seems crazy to me. To me, it's similar. It would be similar, not exactly the same, but similar to like saying, there's 1,000 people dying every day in America, trans people dying every day because of transphobic policies.
Welcome to Chud Nation.
Thank you for the Prime sub, Dingo. Gaming indeed. And someone going, hang on a minute, I don't know about that. Well, hang on, this is how I feel about it. You as a cis person cannot tell me how to talk about, you know, my issues or my own oppression. But it's like, but you're making a claim that like, I don't believe to be true. Do you see what I mean? It just seems like crazy that so that just basically means because you're a certain identity, you've got the ability to go online onto a public platform and say whatever you like, essentially, about what's happening. And then if someone challenges you on that, that's tone policing. No, that's not tone policing. That's just having, you know, an interest in discussion and debate because you're talking about stuff on a public platform, you know? And the thing is as well, if you want to go ahead and go on and say this stuff, if you want to go ahead and go online and say this stuff, okay, I think that's fine. But, like, you can't expect to do it... Oh, for fuck's sake, now the camera's facing that way. What a disaster. Is that better? I can't see my camera live, so I don't know what's going on. There we go, I think that's better. What was I saying? But yeah, I don't think that you can go on and say this stuff live and like not expect to be challenged on it or something like that. I think I was saying.
You have to be like of a specific like race or group or something of that nature to be the only people that can talk about that. I think that's kind of silly. Like one of the most famous Black Power slogans is like Black Power, power for Black people, white power, power for all people. And that slogan, what it means, I mean, first of all, on its face, it sounds horrible, right? But like, what it really means is just that, you know, Black people have had to use
give me some money,
white people, since we are the majority people in this country.
Guys, if you give me money right now, I am financially benefiting from the suffering of trans people. Don't you want me to do that? Don't you want me to shamelessly make money off of the pain and suffering of trans people right now? Is that not what you want?
You know, as like the vehicle for trying to get their stuff passed. So yeah, there is an argument to be made that if we were able to make our language more palatable for people to come to our side, and then that ends up getting legislation passed that would then stop, you know, trans people from killing themselves, I think that that would be a really good avenue to go down. Yeah.
You think it would be a super good idea to have a panel to debate whether or not the fucking Black Panthers or whoever are using acceptable language to you?
Hey, thanks a lot. That's really generous.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Okay, so
like
you
Martin Luther.
Based. I can't see. Hey, social support. Thanks for the 420. Appreciate you. I mean, sure. Like, you could look at the language they were using. I mean, I don't think the Black Panthers. I can't remember. Like, I don't even know what you point to as an example of that. But like, let's say they were. Let's say they were saying some crazy shit. I think it would be acceptable to kind of question that and call that out. Like, okay, not the Black Panthers. That's probably like a bad example. But by this logic, then, how can we query like Black Panthers has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. By the way, I appreciate they're very different. I'm trying to think of a better example of this, or more extreme example. Hoteps. Are we allowed to question the Hoteps then? Because they're just talking about their oppression, right? But they're saying fucking insane, unhinged shit about it. But then they're just talking about their oppression. So who are we to question it? Hey, Kia Cow, thanks for the 690. Like, it just seems to be a bad precedent to set where we say if a marginalized person is talking about their experiences with oppression, we are not allowed to question that in any way, lest we be tone policing them. That seems like a crazy standard to set.
Hold on, no. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X literally did this. Wait, hold on. Are you really doing this? Wait, hold on. Are you fucking really doing this? I mean, Dr. King and, like, they literally did this shit. They literally were like, we need to get white people on our side. They need to get the majority group on their side. They didn't hold panels. They go to church. They fucking hold churchgoers. It doesn't fucking matter. White people are not part of the Black person group, but white people give the Black group more power because we are the majority. You have to bring over the majority to your side so
True.
that we can get something done. What in the actual
minute.
fuck are you talking
minute.
about? And this actually happened in history. Like, I don't understand. It was a
Where is the trans Martin Luther King? Who is the trans Martin Luther King? Step forward and say your piece. We need you now more than ever. But no, I think that I understand why he's doing it. Obviously, invoking Martin Luther King is probably a tactical error in terms of trying to convince the other side, but at this point it's over. But yeah, obviously, the way that you talk about even oppression is important, and making sure that you're doing it in a way that is conducive to get people over to your side. Yeah, this is all stuff that needs to be taken into account. But again, I feel like Will is being a bit naive here. This is all just content, bro. You know, you're trying to talk to someone who essentially is bringing you on to like eviscerate you in front of an audience so that she can do a victory lap and say she defeated the transphobe. It's what happened with Loner Box as well. You know, the posturing after that debate was crazy, and I'm sure that she did the same thing with this poor fella too. She probably went off and was like, "Yeah, get wrecked." Da 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 da. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Now he's actually standing up for himself. Yes, I agree. That's good. I'm glad he's standing up for himself, because earlier he was a bit like a wet flannel. Now he's standing up for himself. We're not only getting a bit of content, but I feel like he is kind of like defending his position a bit more, which is good.
white and black coalition that ended Jim Crow. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Okay, but
It's going to have to be a straight and trans coalition that is going to get trans rights passed for trans people.
So are you going to fucking let me talk? Are you going to continue to talk over me? Because you know you've actually said something pretty indefensible.
But yeah, basically, Loner Box came out with a position that he didn't agree with the framing of it as a genocide. And then that obviously caused issues. Polly went into his chat and challenged him on it, and they had a debate about it. That's why everyone was sawing out. What are the ways you chase people via email so you didn't come across like a see you next Tuesday? What, you mean in terms of like trying to get people on? I think that you just need to message someone and just be plain about what your intentions are. Hey, I'm looking to do this panel. This is what I'm thinking. Would you be interested in attending? Literal keep it simple, stupid shit. Genuine question. Why is everyone shitting on Loner Box when Destiny had the same exact take there isn't a trans genocide? Because Destiny is already in the box of like, you know, somewhat transphobic, like, or even explicitly transphobic. Some people even think he's a fascist or a Nazi. You know, he has already been decided that, well, he's, you know, his take is irrelevant because it's not a surprise to them, okay? But Loner Box, he's someone that's vociferously argued for trans rights, and to this day, which I would say, argue Destiny has too, but to this day has not given any sort of contentious opinion to the kind of lefty orthodoxy when it comes to this stuff. So I don't believe he's like made any substantive content about trans women in sports or commented on it that much. I don't think he's had any commentary besides like basically nothing against what you would expect the kind of lefty perspective to be on this, right? But coming out and saying that he doesn't believe there's a trans genocide, well, this is the first time he's really come out against, you know, what the correct opinion is supposed to be. And so therefore everyone's pissed off with him because it's like a surprise or something that he's coming out with this take. That roughly is like what I would say. That's the way I see it anyway. Right, come on, guys. We've got a little bit of money there. We need a bit more. Come on. Down there. Let's get these bars filled. I really need to get these bars filled today.
Can I talk
so I can
now?
feel good about myself.
What is the limit to the things that you can do then? Me as a fucking white cis person, I can hold a panel as to whether not just trans people are being out of line, whether people of color in the pursuit of their liberation. We can talk about whether they're out of line. We can have a 6-person panel where 3 people think that marginalized people should speak for themselves, and then another 3 people who say, no, white cis people get to say, I don't know, that makes me feel sad and scared and unhappy, and I don't like your tone.
That's fair.
The only kind of
Okay, can I just stop you here? If hold on, if I had a panel, if the panel was if the panel was 6 like cisgendered,
the only result of that panel is suggesting that those discussions are appropriate when they are not appropriate. You have to let somebody who is from the community drive the discussion.
Holy fuck! Yeah, that's fine. Do you think I'm gonna have? Hold on. Do you think I'm gonna have 6 cisgendered people on my panel? Like, are you dumb? Like, do you think I'm just gonna have 6 white cisgendered males on?
Notice how she is now reframing it as well, describing it as saying the transes are out of line. Oh yeah, of course. She's you know, wanting to frame it in that way because that's the kind of presentation she wants her audience to see. But obviously Willis said absolutely nothing like that. You know, it's quite clear as badly he went about it. Like, Will's intent, I think, is good. I don't think he's trying to, you know, host something where people come on and berate trans people. It's a genuine conversation about what's happening to maybe shed some light on it or something like that.
On my fucking transgender panel? Are you fucking dumb? Like, no offense, but like, obviously I've contacted you. I've contacted Demonmama. I've contacted several other trans people. We are going to have a panel of really interesting, you know, trans voices on all sides. Like, yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, just, you're fucking... You're straw manning the most dumb shit point possible. I mean, I'm obviously not going to have a panel that is not... If a panel was not representative of the population, then obviously it would be a shit fucking panel. This is just stupid. Can you fucking, like, actually talk to me about what your real issues are? Like, really, like, what's up?
Right now?
No, I think this really, I'm gonna be honest, I think this comes from an extremely spite-driven place. Because you've already, you know, you've called me out for clout sharking. I think there are much easier ways that I could get clout. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Quiet. You do not get to decide.
To be fair, Will isn't stillmanning a point. Why should Will stillman anything? He's been brought in as a puppet to be battered. It's fucking Punch and Judy. That's what, you know, he is being battered for laughs. Thank you for the bits, Power Bottom Politics. Well, Will isn't being very good faith here, nor should he. Fuck this. She's clearly demonstrated that she's not interested in having a good faith conversation. So, fuck it. Fucking bite back a bit, absolutely.
Decide what is an appropriate conversation about our fucking issues. So the way you're even describing it is, you think I'm going to have 3 people this, 3 people that? My point is, you don't get to decide
God, Lord.
who talks about this. You literally in our DMs, and by the way, you're not showing you're super good at this already because you're constantly talking over me. But in our DMs, you literally said, I need you to promise me that you will act in good faith and be a fucking good girl, basically, before I invite you onto my panel.
100%.
How do you think that sounds to somebody like me?
Well, yeah, that's like a good thing, no? If like you're worried about what it might become and it's going to be some fucking shit show. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable to me. Like, clearly that's an indication that he's not looking for some drama farm bullshit. Yeah, he just want to have a good faith conversation about what's going on.
I didn't say good girl or anything of that nature, by the way. Wow. I mean, like, read the whole DM. Please just read the DM.
Unleash the Kraken.
Okay, fuck, dude.
Like, I mean, if you're gonna just call out the DM and not fucking quote it properly, fuck that. Read the DM. That's bullshit. Don't be like that. Are you kidding me?
All right. Here's what you said then, my guy. You said...
Please.
You said this. I am not concerned. You.
Oh my God! Go.
Oh, the straw man voice, the fucking straw man voice. No way, the straw man voice comes out. Jesus.
Fuck off, Paulie.
All right,
I'm good. I'm good. I'm pretty good. Man, you know, Paulie, I really believed that we could do this.
My goal is to try to bring people with literally identical opinions.
Congratulations. You're gonna get 0 people onto your side, okay? Long term. No one is gonna go on your side just because you're on it. Just throwing it out there. Enjoy.
Do you want me to read?
Holy shit. What a waste of time. I have Christmas decorations to hang up. I could literally give such a shit less what this person thinks.
Jesus Christ.
I just am not going to waste my time. Have a lovely rest of your day, gang. Peace.